My name is Amber O'Brien, and today we are going to be working on a lesson on lungs and respiratory from a human body part functions unit. So our standard today that we're working with is the student. There's actually a couple of them, and since it's integrated, we're integrating health into a science lesson. So again, the lesson or standard is the student achieves and maintains a health enhancing level of physical fitness. And the health standard is PE.B.1.1, and it states that the students understand the changes that occur in respiration during vigorous physical activity. And then our science standard is SC.2.L.14.1, and it states that we're going to distinguish human body parts like the brain, heart, lungs, stomach, muscles, and skeleton, and their basic functions. So like I said, that is the unit that we're on, and the lesson this week is just on lungs. So I have integrated in, again, health and understanding that with vigorous activity, the respiratory works harder, which has to do with the lungs. So the objective is, given a bubble map, students will identify at least 3 facts on lungs and will identify one exercise that will change the way we breathe with a detailed explanation. So the goal there is that students will be able to fill out a bubble map that's already designed for them, and down below on this side they'll tell me the exercise that they chose, and then they're going to explain it to me here. So this is their assessment. This is what they're going to turn in and get graded on. Some of the prior knowledge that they'll already have for this lesson is that they should know that the lungs allow us to breathe. Students should also know that exercise is healthy for us and that it can make us breathe heavier. Students will also have already completed their lung readings and cut out for their body parts book. So they'll be able to have that read-in, that handout with them to help them along with this activity. Some of the misconceptions for this may be that students may not normally exercise, so when they begin to exercise, they may not have to exercise for long to change their breathing. We want them to realize that it's over time, that it shouldn't just be a real quick exercise. It's over time doing the exercise that your breathing will change. And students should do the exercise for at least 1 minute before we stop and we check if we can breathe heavier or if we are breathing heavier. The students during this lesson will follow classroom expectations. They know that they should already raise their hand if they have a question. If they So if they have a question, they'll raise their hand. While the teacher is talking, they'll be at a level 0, paying attention. During turn and shares, they will work at a level 1 whisper and participate within their own group. So these are already expectations that the classroom is set up with, and the teacher will just remind them as needed. Like I said, that this lesson is an integrated lesson. It has science and health. So students will be learning about science and health, which are connected in ways. For ESE students, I've supplied the bubble map, and we're doing a movement activity. For our ESOL students, again, the bubble map, it's possible that they, if depending upon their level, that if they're not too great at writing into a smaller space yet, I may provide them with sample sentence cutouts so that they can glue them into the bubble map, if that would be easier for them, and also the movement activity. The learning styles today is kinesthetic, because obviously we're going to be moving, physiological, and perceptual. Materials for this lesson, we need our bubble map, of course, so the students are going to write, like I said, write on their bubble map and turn this in for the assessment grade. Crayons or markers, music to kind of get the movement exercise excited, of course a pencil to write with, computer, some sort of Promethean board or pull down screen so that we can play the video, and of course if you have those ESOL students for you may want to have the sentence cutouts for them already. And the computer is going to be used for our BrainPop Junior video that I'll show in just a minute. So again, for technology, we're doing the music and computer with Promethean board for the BrainPop Junior video. So to introduce this lesson, the teacher's going to go over the objective, which I've already read, that students will identify 3 ways that the lungs function, or details about the lungs on their bubble map, and so they'll include it 1, 2, 3. And then the teachers will have the students turn and share so that the teacher can walk around and make sure that the students really understand the objective and what is expected of them before they move on. It's important to know what the students are learning so that they have a purpose. So the students will listen at first at a level 0, and then they're going to turn and share with their neighbor what the objective is. During the present the content part, should take about 10 minutes, the introduction only about 5 minutes. So during this part, the teacher will kind of hook the kids with the BrainPop video, get them thinking about the lungs more based off what they've already learned. And so they already have in their mindset that they need to be focusing on 3 facts or functions. So as they're watching the movie, the teacher may remind them, maybe you want to write something down on your off to the side, or remember something that sticks out to you that you might want to put on your bubble map. So the students are going to watch the following BrainPop movie at a level 0. So let me go ahead and play a small portion of it for you. I'm not sure if you could see it very well, but
that was a great game, Moby. I need to rest and catch my breath. My lungs got a real workout. What are lungs? The lungs are organs. No, Moby, not that kind of organ. An organ is a body part that has a special job. Your brain, heart, and lungs are all organs. The lungs are organs inside your chest that help you breathe. They're part of the respiratory system, which is in charge of breathing. What happens when you inhale? You can't see air, but it's all around us. Air is made of different gases, including oxygen.
okay, so that is just a real quick part of it. The video itself is about 4.5 minutes long. So for the present the information, that's why we're doing 10 minutes. So after the video, I will have the students turn and share to kind of answer to the following statement. And it's one of our higher order questions. So again, it's describe how lungs function. So students will have a few minutes to turn and share. And then the teacher will ask the students, after they've already gone over that, what happens to our breathing when we exercise. And the teacher will just call in random students for that one. So after we present the information and the students are comfortable with knowing what to do, we'll go ahead and practice it together. So for the guided practice, the teacher's just going to explain to the students that they were going to fill in their bubble map with different facts and functions of the lungs, and that their goal obviously is to fill out 3. The teacher will then call on a student to share what their group turned and shared from earlier with the describe how lungs function question. So as one student shares, the teacher will go ahead and write it up on the whiteboard. And so the most common one, and the teacher will only write one because the teacher doesn't want to give everybody the answers. But the most common one is most likely going to be the this one here where it says it helps my body breathe. However, some other answers that you may see are also listed here. Lungs trade air with my blood, and that lungs are like balloons and they fill up with air and let air out. So I also have that over here. So of course the teacher won't write all that on the board. He or she will only write just the one and let the kids develop the other ones on their own, so that at least we practice one and they know what to do and how to do it. That's the main goal of that, and then they will be required to do the rest. And you could even say that they could fill out that one but then an additional 3, and you could discuss the different functions and just not write them down. Then the teacher will explain to the students that they will do the exercise of their choice as long as it's safe and it's not running, so that the students can see how when they're doing an exercise, it is possible that they will breathe heavier, and that's okay. And they'll kind of get an understanding of how your lungs work when you're exercising. So the students will have or the teacher will have the students stand up for this exercise, and let's say everybody chose run in place or jump up and down. The teacher will set a timer for 1 minute, maybe put on some music, and let the kids just really jump up and down in their one spot, not around the room. So that has to be stated, that you need to stay in your area, away from others, and that you can jump up and down. Maybe it's do jumping jacks as long as you're not within reach of somebody. But the main thing is that they're doing it all for 1 minute so that everybody can get the same time frame on that. Once the students are done and the time is up, they can turn and share as well on what's going on with their breathing, or they can just maybe make note of it. Now the teacher will move into independent practice. And for the independent practice, the students really need to be working on their own. However, if they do have a question, you can always have them ask a neighbor before they raise their hand to ask you. But that the neighbor is not, or the student is not giving them the answer, they're just kind of helping and guiding them. So the teacher will ask the students to finish filling out their bubble maps, and we'll have them describe an exercise that will have them breathe heavier, and we'll make sure that they explain it with lots of details. So for instance, if they decided to jump, the exercise would be jumping in place, and they will describe the exercise and how they felt after they completed it for 1 minute. Okay, and then so after they're done with their lesson, their independent practice on that, the teacher will summarize and have students show a thumbs up, yes, I believe I've mastered my objective, or a thumbs down, I'm still struggling and need some additional help. So, and throughout, as the teacher is teaching the lesson, he or she, again, can look for those higher level questions. Describe how our lungs are functioning. We already used that one. Explain in detail an exercise that makes you breathe heavier. Students are using that one. And how can we classify the lungs? So where would we put them? Or are they an organ? So you can kind of get them thinking the whole picture, the whole unit. So that would be a good connection with the unit. So that's our lesson today for lungs, and again, it was connected with our health as well. So we got some exercise in there, and we understand how that when we exercise, we breathe heavier, especially when we do a vigorous exercise. So thank you.